All right, Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce are on the COVID list right now for the Chiefs, but they're still favored by 7.5 over the Steelers. Like, is that spread too high with the Chiefs' top receivers possibly out, Matt?
So it depends if they actually play. This is a little bit of like the way that NBA betting tends to work, where lines are priced in a spot without knowing either way. And it's kind of just like a midpoint. So to me, the 7.5 is set for the uncertainty of Hill and Kelce. And I think if they play, we see the spread come up. And in that case, yeah, it's too low because those guys are in. But if they don't play, 7.5 is too high. I just don't think this Chiefs offense is going to be very good. I mean, Patrick Mahomes has had an inconsistent year. I think he's still a good quarterback for sure, but you basically just take away all of his weapons in that scenario. And I think we will see the spread drop below a touchdown in that case. So if those guys are out, 7.5 is way too high. I think the line comes in around 5 or 6 in that case.
Alan, what do you think?
I think the opening line for this was around 10, but for obvious reasons, nobody got their money down on that one. It dropped to 7.5 for all the reasons Matt just talked about. Mike Tomlin's a really good coach, and I expect the Steelers to show up. Mahomes had his breakout game of sorts last week with that 403, but Mahomes is, last year was over 8 yards per attempt. This year he's 7.3. Still doesn't look right to me. That could be a function of the umbrella defenses that we've seen teams play this year, but a non-quarterback skill player rarely moves the line more than a point. But if both Kelce and Hill don't suit up, that could be the Jenga piece that topples this whole thing. I'm taking the points in Pittsburgh.
All right, Pearce, what are you doing here?
It was definitely too high at 10, and it's still too high for me because it's not just Kelce and Tyreek Hill that are out. There's two starting offensive linemen that are not going to play. We know Kansas City has had offensive line issues all season. They seem to have shored that up, but now if you're going to have two starters out in the offensive line, that's going to cause problems. But even worse, they've got 4 starting defensive players that are on the COVID list. And we know that the strength of that team has not necessarily been the offense or Hill or Kelce. It's been that defense has absolutely been shutting teams down for the last 2 months. If they're going to be without 4 starters, 2 offensive linemen, and then possibly either or Kelce or Hill, it's going to be pretty hard for them to, beat a gritty, gutsy Pittsburgh team that I think Kansas City would win, but that's just too many points with that many players out.